Right, so I was heading back to my car, and now I see there's headlights there again. I'm guessing it's the cop who's returned. Possibly to write me a ticket. He's not going to see me inside this time. But I've decided maybe I will do that 70 miles, but I really don't want him around my car when I'm trying to leave. Alright, so I pulled into West Yellowstone. It's a city, but like over half the population lives in the hotels. They're just tourists. It's a tourist city. It's the gateway to the Yellowstone. I think it's probably the closest entrance to the Old Faithful, so it probably attracts the most people. It's got a long storied history. You walk around, you see old cabins. People have stopped there for many decades. All right, and you see the old cabins being replaced by hotels. They moved away from cabin-like atmospheres where people could sleep outside of Yellowstone to multi-story hotels, and they enforced that further with laws making it that you cannot car camp, you can't camp on the side streets. They have cops patrol the side streets, which has led to me getting harassed on the side street at 2 a.m. I stayed only 2 nights, okay, and I say 1.5 nights because I left that second night. I slept near the library the first night, no problems. I slept near the library in hopes that there'd be internet, and there wasn't. And I'm too lazy to just bounce around anyway. I'm not trying to blow gas money, trying to bounce around and find the perfect spots. But I didn't want to sleep that same spot the second night, at least. But yeah, the library does close down the internet at night. They actually physically unplug the internet. I asked them about it the next day. And that's what they do. That's rare. That's the second one. Astoria, Oregon is the first one I found out that they unplug the Wi-Fi modem when they're closed. And this is another one. And why they do that? Well, I never got a hold of the director. They're the ones that made that decision. But the librarian is like, yeah, the park has Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. I check out the park. There's a connection. I even went through the authentication screen where you check yes, you agree to everything, and then after that I couldn't get on the internet. That didn't work. But the only other 2 choices for Wi-Fi are the visitor center and the McDonald's. The visitor center is actually the most reliable, and I swear every visitor center has free Wi-Fi. I can't recall any visitor center that has never had free Wi-Fi. Even in some pretty remote places, like Silverton, Oregon. That one's right across the street from the library, and their library never turns their Wi-Fi off. So you have a choice. You can sit on one end of the parking lot or not, and use either the visitor center Wi-Fi or the library Wi-Fi there. But yeah, and they Silverton, I don't know. I was sleeping in the church parking lot and Safeway parking lot there, not in the side streets. The side streets can be pretty safe, depending on where you do it. Because if you park in front of a residence, too close to a residence, then you can have some scared people living there that want to call the cops. The cops may not be so keen on patrolling a residence so readily because they assume maybe it's a resident of some kind or a visitor of some kinds. So they rely more on the complainant, I think, for in the residence. I don't want complaints, so I try to balance parking near like where there's partial residence, partial business in between, and that's what I chose for the Yellowstone, the West Yellowstone city. All right, this but and this is empty lots that I was parked in front of that used to have business. Probably had cabins, all right, and then they got mowed down. There's still a lot of old cabins up. So at 2 a.m. the cop shows up. It was me, and there's 3 cars in this block area, and the cop comes to my car first. I was awake because I've been having intestinal problems, and just, yeah, the interaction shows itself on the video. After he leaves, he didn't really like drive away. He just walked over to the van next, and he came back to my car every so often. And he's like, "Yeah, there's a bicycle in the back," and he was describing mine further, but he didn't do anything with me because I was up. I was just sitting in my car. He didn't really catch me sleeping or catch me camping, so to write me a ticket would have been a bit of a stretch, and he knew that. But I mean, he stretched the law with the people in the van, because I saw those 2 people when I walked by before they went to sleep. They were sitting on the passenger and driver's side and just doing whatever with their light on bright. I was just thinking to myself, I'm glad I'm not next to these guys, because they had kind of a bright lights. There was no street lights. And then when the cop came by, I went by afterward to inspect it, and there was like some drape curtain to protect you from seeing the back of the van, and you couldn't see through the windows in any way. I'm pretty sure that they were sleeping in there. The cop was darn sure too, because he gave him a ticket, which I recorded, and that'll be like a separate video, just a short video showing the code violation. So he took a good guess that it was car campers, based on his experience that people who car camp will cover all their windows up. So is that really safe? Cover all your windows up and don't answer when somebody knocks on your car. They got a ticket. I didn't get a ticket because my windows weren't all covered up. I only cover up the back 2, and everything else I left open. If I had covered up all my windows and then not like answered, he would have given me a ticket, and that would have been it. But the thing is, it's just parking tickets, I believe. So you just leave and forget about it, pretty much. That's, unless you get enough of them, then they build up. But to go after you over 1 ticket, I believe I still have a parking ticket in San Diego from years back that I haven't been back to that city in a long time. It's a city violation. It's a very local, within the city limits violation. So after he left, I got out and walked around for like an hour. I went over to use the internet because he gave me directions on the video, but I didn't understand exactly where, what he was describing. Take a left at the stop sign. I know now. I went that way, but I didn't know it at the time, and I wanted to do more investigation. So I went over to the visitor center at 2 a.m. and get on the internet there, and then did some research on Google Maps to figure it out. I figured I didn't really want to park on the side of the road. As legal as it was, I wanted to continue on after that if I was going to drive. So that was the incident. It's like this city is really hard on people for being there, and it's able to do that because it's such a high tourist town. It's practically like a mini Las Vegas. They got so much international activity there, with a quarter of the people being Chinese, and I hear all kinds of different languages. It's like almost Spanish-like languages, but not quite. I'm not sure exactly what the language, all the languages are used. I think I heard some German accents and British. It's just all kinds of people going, and it's just so incredibly busy. So they're really hard on the poor people, because the people that go there are gonna have money. All right, and we're talking international people who have the money. The local are people who are U.S. citizens who just show up, who are poor. are kicked out of the area. All right, it's catered more to the rich in a worldly fashion. It doesn't. Americans do not take any priority on this area in being able to do whatever. You don't have any special privileges as an American for these national landmarks. Everybody has to get in line at the same time. Everybody has to follow the same law. And okay, there's no America first with the law. Okay, that's just how it's playing out in cities like this. So it's a little frustrating to have the cops really take the initiative. There's barely anybody on the sides of the roads. There's nobody out walking around. When I was walking around, really, I think I saw only one other person. As quiet as it was at night, and as few cars as there were during the day and during the night, the cop was going after them. Few cars that were parked on the side of the road, stopping, checking them out, and if anybody's inside, and if you see stuff like what I got in my car, then you can easily accuse them of car camping. If the car looks empty, then it's harder to accuse them of car camping. If you got all your windows draped up, it's car camping. If your windows are open, it's less car camping. There's like a checklist. Okay, is their car messy, full of stuff? Yes, okay, they're probably living in their car. If it's not, then no. You just go down that diagram to figure it out based on your observations. And even in a car, and I think this small car is a bit of a factor, because I got things more condensed in a smaller area. So you gotta think about that. What if I had a bigger car? I'd have things more spread out, and it may look like less like I'm car camping. Either way, I know he would have gone after RVs. There's certain streets that actually say no camping, no parking overnight on this street. The street I was on had no such sign, so there was no warning about that. And the procedure that the cop used, like, he didn't ask me about my name or it didn't sound like he really checked me seriously for warrants. He didn't check to see if I was a car owner or anything like that. Their priority is a lot different in this city than others. All right, a lot of cities want to find out who I am, if I own the car, and all that. But this one, they don't. It's not as important. It could be the policy of the law enforcement coming down from the city council, the lawmakers who decide, hey, we're not here to make money off of tickets. We're making a lot of good money off of the tourists. Tourists over tickets anytime, right? But a lot of other cities will go for the warrants, go for the tickets, because they're not getting the tourism, they're not getting the kind of business they want, and it's balance. It's a factor of the type of activity that happens in that city. So this one is really heavy on tourism, and what if I was Chinese and didn't speak a lick of English? That's a common issue there. How would that cop have handled that situation? They got to deal with people who barely can speak English. So it seems like there's a little more cushion with the police, the cities that have to deal with more foreign language. See, I'm scared of Mexican towns, little Mexicos in America, but those are some of the most relaxed police cities, because they have to deal with far worse people than a car camper. So that's the thing. I kind of welcome people from other countries, even illegals being in the country. I welcome that in a lot of ways, because it takes pressure off of me. Because you go to a lot of these cities, Idaho is one of the worst. These these really, I'd have to call them racist in a way, type of communities that just, you get a job and be white and have money and do the right thing, obey all the law and what the law enforcement people are telling you, obey everything and be this perfect person, this manifest destiny. It's what started in the East Coast, and it's what brought people to the West, the manifest destiny. But it continues. It's still alive in Idaho. But I'm actually complaining about Montana.